The Browns beat Pittsburgh 13-6. Cleveland improving to 4-12 on the season. One win better than last season, and they've still got one game left next weekend against the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm just excited. I'm just happy that he was able to see the other side of things.
It feels good. Shedeur Sanders handled business. He handled his business today. Can't nobody say nothing.
The Steelers, 4th and goal. Rodgers looking, and again for Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and again incomplete. Steelers lose 13-6.
Dang, bro, why you still up? And he was like, bro, I'm excited, bro. He was excited they just got the win, and he was definitely
The Pittsburgh Steelers walked into Huntington Bank Field with everything on the line. Division title within reach, playoff positioning locked in. All they needed was one win against a Browns team that's been limping through a catastrophic season. One single win. And they got absolutely dismantled by a rookie quarterback who spent the last month proving everyone wrong. Shedeur Sanders just announced himself to the NFL in the most dramatic way possible. Not with flashy numbers, not with 5 touchdowns, but with surgical precision, ice-cold composure, and the kind of clutch performance that makes you wonder if Cleveland just stumbled into their franchise quarterback without even trying. Final score, Browns 13, Steelers 6. No, that's not a typo. The Steelers' offense scored 0 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers and that entire Pittsburgh offense put up a grand total of 6 points. 2 field goals. That's it. That's the whole story on their side.
21 of 39, 168 yards, 64 quarterback rating. I mean, Shedeur's stats looked better than this. Dare we say Shedeur Sanders outplayed Aaron Rodgers today?
And you know what? Dare we say it? Shedeur Sanders just outplayed Aaron Rodgers in a must-win divisional game. A rookie with one of the worst offensive lines in football against one of the best defenses in the league. Let that sink in. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Browns were supposed to roll over. They're out of playoff contention. They've won 3 games all season. This was supposed to be Pittsburgh's coronation party. Instead, it turned into Shedeur Sanders' coming-out performance. The first half was a masterclass, methodical, calculated, near perfect, as one analyst described it. Sanders wasn't forcing anything. He was reading the defense, making quick decisions, and most importantly, he wasn't taking sacks. Only got dropped twice all game, both right at the line of scrimmage, and that's behind an offensive line that's been an absolute disaster all season. Think about that context for a second. Cam Robinson, Cleveland's left tackle, graded out at a 68 according to reports. That's not starting caliber football, that's barely backup caliber. And yet Sanders found a way to operate, to function, to win behind that kind of protection. The touchdown to Harold Fannin in the first half was picture perfect. Slightly underthrown, sure, but placed where only his receiver could make a play. Fannin came down with it in the end zone, and suddenly Cleveland had a 10-0 lead against Pittsburgh in a divisional game, at home. That was the only touchdown either team would score all game.
This is the recipe that the Browns should have had all season long. Your offense can do enough, not nothing, but enough against a good Steelers defense to win the football game. When the Browns defense shows up, plays well, holds them to...
And that's the blueprint, isn't it? That's what Cleveland's been missing all year. An offense that can do enough. Not spectacular, not explosive, just enough to put points on the board when your defense shows up and dominates. Because make no mistake, Cleveland's defense was suffocating. Myles Garrett didn't break the single-season sack record, but he absolutely affected this game. Rodgers was getting the ball out lightning quick, specifically to avoid Garrett. You could see it in his decision-making. Balls into the dirt, quick checkdowns, anything to keep number 95 from adding to his total. And when Rodgers tried to push it downfield, when he tried to extend plays, that's when Cleveland's defense swarmed. Shelby Harris deflecting a crucial 4th down pass with 2 minutes left. Denzel Ward breaking up a 4th and goal attempt as time expired. This was defensive football at its finest, the kind of bend, don't break mentality that wins playoff games. But let's get back to Sanders, because this performance revealed something crucial about his development. After Fannin went down with a groin injury, Sanders didn't panic. He didn't force throws to try and replace that production. He adapted. He started going to Jerry Jeudy more. He spread the ball around. 5 different receivers caught passes. That's quarterback maturity you don't usually see from rookies. The stat line tells one story: 17 of 23, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But stats lie sometimes. Context matters. That first interception wasn't entirely on Sanders. The second one? Yeah, that was a rookie mistake, throwing across his body into coverage. But everything else was a quarterback playing winning football against a playoff defense with limited weapons and a porous offensive line. The run game was non-existent. Dylan Sampson led Cleveland with 27 rushing yards. 27! The Steelers outgained Cleveland in total yards, and yet Sanders found a way to manufacture just enough offense to win. That 40-yard connection to Tillman, quick intermediate throws that moved the chains, managing the game, protecting the football, and most importantly, not losing it. This is what development looks like. This is what growth looks like. Sanders isn't the finished product, not even close, but he's showing the traits you can't teach: composure under pressure, the ability to read defenses, pocket awareness, decision-making that values the win over individual stats. Now, let's talk about what this means for Pittsburgh, because they just suffered their 4th straight loss in Cleveland. 4th straight. They had the division title locked up if they won this game. Instead, they're heading to Week 18 against Baltimore with everything on the line. And they're doing it without DK Metcalf, who was suspended and will miss that game too.
Wins another game. I don't care about the draft position. I don't care what you have to say. When we play Pittsburgh, there's something about beating them that fires me up, that makes me feel so good. And Shedeur, if you beat Pittsburgh, which you did, you're a Brownie for life. That's our guy, baby. Type W in the chat right now. Spam those W's. I want to see 100 just W's.
The absence of Metcalf was glaring. Those downfield shots Pittsburgh kept trying to take, those fade routes on 4th down, those go to DK in single coverage. Without him, Rodgers had nowhere to go with the football. And when Darnell Washington broke his arm early in the game, suddenly Pittsburgh's safety blankets were gone. Kenneth Gainwell, who'd been their most dynamic playmaker in recent weeks, only touched the ball 10 times. 26 yards rushing, 12 receiving. This was an offensive disaster for Pittsburgh, and it happened at the worst possible time. They scored 6 points. 6! Against a defense that's been inconsistent all year. Credit to Cleveland's defense, absolutely, but this was also Pittsburgh's offense completely failing to execute when it mattered most. And now the narrative shifts completely. Week 18, Ravens versus Pittsburgh for the AFC North title. Derrick Henry just rushed for over 200 yards. Baltimore is rolling. Pittsburgh is reeling, having lost 4 straight games, and they're doing it potentially without 2 of their most important offensive weapons. Meanwhile, back in Cleveland, a different conversation is starting to happen, a conversation about the future, about whether Shedeur Sanders just did enough to earn the starting job for 2025.
So, with 1 game left, folks, are you ready to say it? Is Shedeur Sanders quarterback 1 for Cleveland going forward into next year?
It's a legitimate question now. Sanders has shown flashes of brilliance. He's demonstrated he can operate in the pocket against NFL pressure. He's made plays with his legs when needed, 20 rushing yards today, including some key scrambles that extended drives. He spread the ball around to different receivers. He's shown he can win games when his defense gives him a chance. The case for drafting a quarterback is still there. Cleveland could be picking high enough to land one of the top prospects, but there's something to be said for continuity, for building around a young quarterback who's showing the right traits. The Bears cycled through quarterbacks endlessly. The Patriots did the same. And where did they get them? Sanders isn't perfect. That second interception was ugly. There will be growing pains. But if you give him a full offseason, if you upgrade that offensive line, if you surround him with better weapons, what does this offense become? What does Sanders become with actual protection and a legitimate running game? The eye test says there's something here. The athleticism is obvious. The arm talent is real. But more importantly, the intangibles are showing up. He's not making the catastrophic mistakes that sink teams. He's managing games. He's making the throws when they're there. He's not forcing action when it's not. This is what you want to see from a developing quarterback: progress, growth, the ability to win games even when conditions aren't perfect. Cleveland finishes the season against Cincinnati next week. Joe Burrow and the Bengals in what amounts to a meaningless game for playoff positioning, but a crucial evaluation opportunity for Sanders. One more chance to show what he can do. One more data point in the "Is Shedeur Sanders our guy?" debate. And Myles Garrett will be chasing history one more time, half a sack away from tying the single-season record, one away from breaking it against Joe Burrow or potentially Joe Flacco, depending on how Cincinnati handles their Week 18 situation. How poetic would it be if Garrett breaks the record by sacking his Week 1 quarterback? But the bigger story, the more important storyline, is what Cleveland just accomplished today. They beat Pittsburgh when nobody expected them to. They spoiled the Steelers' division clinching party.
Feels so good to win. Let's do this again next week.
And Shedeur Sanders, he was the pallbearer, carrying Pittsburgh's playoff dreams straight to the grave. Week 18 awaits. Baltimore versus Pittsburgh for the North. Cleveland versus Cincinnati for pride and evaluation. And somewhere in all this chaos, a rookie quarterback who nobody believed in just proved he belongs in this league. The question isn't whether Shedeur Sanders can play in the NFL anymore. The question is how good can he become when Cleveland finally builds a real team around him.